Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Magic Beans podcast. This is episode 108, and we've got a special episode this week. My name is Chewy, and I am joined by the one, the only, TheAzzyG. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. How are you going?
Yeah, very, very good. So tonight we thought we'd do a bit of a spotlight on some of your recent success in the ESL ANZ Champs. We can talk about your experiences playing in that, your deck choices, and your experiences playing in the top 8, and just like crushing people with a particular tribal deck that I'm really excited to talk about.
Excellent.
Yeah, I hope you've got lots of notes and ready to share. And as Cracker finds himself being an influencer and then just running into your deck on ladder going, why did I talk about this on a podcast? But before we get into that, I just wanted to have a quick shout out to our sponsors, which are Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. They are a Facebook auction group where you can bid on physical Magic cards every single night, premium auctions on the weekend, and they've just got a new service where you can win it now, where it's a first in, first served, a bit of a different format, but absolute bargains, lots of play sets, very, very cool new feature on Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. To find Josh and Pat's, jump over to jpmtgbazaar.com.au. You'll be redirected straight to the Facebook group. You can get bidding, and when you do win and you pick up a bargain, please tell them that the Magic Beans sent you. Okay, now that is out of the way, let's get into the topic. And so topic number one that we want to talk about is who is TheAzzyG? TheAzzyG's been in and around the Magic Beans Discord for a little while now, and it's been showing up at the top tables, if you like, and top 8s on the ANZ Champs. But tell us, mate, about how long you've been playing Magic, what got you into Magic, and how you discovered the Beans and the ESL Champs.
So, firstly, I've been playing Magic for probably 6 years now, since I think I started in Magic Origins pre-release. So that's going back about 6 years now. Yeah,
the original flip Planeswalkers, right?
Yeah, that's right. Not that I opened any on pre-release day, but
not that good.
Yeah. So I started then, and I just enjoyed playing pre-release and playing with friends and casual decks and that sort of stuff. So it probably wasn't until, I think it's Shadows over Innistrad where I actually found myself playing in a competitive event that I didn't realise was a competitive level event. I just wanted to play Magic at the local game store, and there was prizes on the line.
Okay, so was that like a PTQ or something that you'd stumbled into, or an F&M that?
No, it was actually a PTQ that I stumbled across, and it was, funnily enough, I ended up coming second with my homebrew.
No way! That's incredible.
And I was sitting in the top 8, and everybody was talking about going somewhere, and I was like, what's a PTQ? So I'm not sure they were too happy about that, but I think I accidentally meted against the meta deck. I think it was like Bant Company at the time.
Okay, yeah. I remember losing to that deck a lot in that particular standard. I tried the black-white control deck, which was supposed to be the answer to that deck, and I didn't have a lot of success. Shorty from the Beans had a fair bit of success in that meta, but it wasn't my best return. But so what did you play? What was your homebrew?
Funnily enough, it was my homebrew of red-black vampires at the time.
Okay.
It was like, I think it was playing Olivia that gives creatures haste when they enter, and then Thunderbreak Regent and all that sort of stuff. So it was just big hasty flyers.
That's some good Magic cards.
Reflector Mage, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like that, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but sensing a bit of a theme from you, TheAzzyG. So
yeah.
Bit of a fan. So I like that. So consistency is good. And, we don't want to be pigeonholed, but, some people like Reanimator, some people like Mono Red, some people like Artifacts. Particular tribes seem to speak to people, whether it's deliberate or not, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think across my whole competitive career, I sort of found myself playing tribal decks. So it's a bit of a thing.
Yeah, nice. Okay. You weren't around playing when slivers were a thing. I think that turned a lot of people off from a tribal perspective, but it's definitely gotten better. And the human support and merfolk support, and in recent sets with obviously vampires and werewolves and things, they've actually become a viable strategy, which is it's fun. It's fun to play those decks. I think I'm glad they exist in the meta.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're easier to build than most other decks as well, which is always nice.
Yeah, less of a sort of a barrier to entry, which is fantastic. Absolutely. So from your almost Cinderella story from your emergent PTQ to top eights of the ANZ champs. So you obviously discovered Arena along the way and started playing that. Was that something during the pandemic, or were you playing that before COVID hit?
So I was playing a little bit, but obviously I had other things on during the week and stuff, so I played nowhere near as much as I did through the pandemic. Sort of it was a bit of an obsession during the pandemic, I think. Played a little bit too much.
It's a good way to pass the time, but yeah, obviously we're all looking for that distraction at that time. So yeah, absolutely. And then you heard about so who did you find out about the Magic Beans first, or the ESL? Did you find out about us through them or them through us, or was it completely separate?
Funnily enough, I found out about ESL, I think, the night before their first qualifier in the first season, and I hadn't played Standard in about 2 years, so I just had to sort of find a deck and roll with it. And then I think it was probably event 2 or event 3, might have been Shorty, posted, "Come check out our podcast" in the ESL Discord, and that's how I found you guys.
Fantastic. Shorty's got no shame. You'll learn that about him. That's why we love him. So have you played in the last Magic Beans League event, I believe?
Yeah. So I played in the, Innistrad Midnight Hunt League, and got crushed by a lot of people, including Stu. He rolled me over with his mono green.
Oh, mate, you have to come back for some vengeance because, no one likes getting beaten by Stu. But no, he can play. He's our resident noob, but he's developing very quickly. He's certainly no slouch. So, that's amazing. Hope to see you next year in our leagues. And, when we do our league draws, when we see certain names, we do think, this might be the group of death, and it's often a debate over which group is the hardest. And, we've seen your name up in lights a little bit. So having TheAzzyG in the group may cause some people to, gulp a little at that matchup. So, you're one of the hurdles people will have to get over if they want to compete for those sweet prizes. But, so the ESL, the ANZ champs, as I've alluded to a couple of times, you made a couple of top eights in those. So, the first deck that you just rolled with, did you have success straight away, or is it something you had to sort of develop and find the right deck for?
So the first deck I tried was, I don't ever play control decks, and I tried a Sultai Ultimatum deck at the time, and I just got crushed in the first qualifier. It's not my play style at all, so I had to go back to the drawing board. And then I think event 2 I moved to everybody's least favourite, Rogues, I think it was at the time. And that
the blue-black Rogues with the crabs and
yep. But I ran into, every aggro matchup possible, so that wasn't ideal.
Yeah, the matchup lottery actually exists. Unlike the shuffler being broken, I think the shuffler's fine, but the matchup lottery is a real thing.
Yeah. And then I think for event 3, I went with a Tima Luca build, which sort of just aims to cheat out Coma and then win from that. And then I just missed out on top 8 with that, which was, a good sign. It encouraged me to keep going.
Fantastic.
And then the 4th event, I moved on to, because that was, a week after rotation or something, because they had all the issues with the Arena client with the new, new rotation. Yeah. So I played some Boris deck. I played Skyclave Apparition and Brutal Cathar and everything. And at the time, it was much like my first competitive experience, it just seemed to go well against the meta at the time, which was a lot of tokens and chariots and whatnot. Ren and 7, I think it was as well.
And you just got under him and around him, and away you go.
That's right. And Brutal Cathar against tokens was, very brutal. And Portable Hole was an all-star.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, good meta choice. That's fantastic. So did you top 8 with that one?
Yeah, that was the one I won the event 4 with. So
fantastic.
I just scraped into top 8, which was, I think 4-2 record, and then went on a dream run in the top 8 somehow and managed to get the victory, and that got me into the championship stage with just enough points.
Fantastic. And then, so how did you go in the championship stage of that one?
I ended up coming second, so I lost to a blue-green ramp deck in the end, but I ran the same Boris deck back in the championship stage, and it worked out.
Fantastic. That's pretty successful. And then they had their second series, they're almost back to back. They wanted to get sort of 2 seasons or series in before Christmas this year. So, they jumped into having events with only a couple of weeks gap, but, you weren't able to play in the first couple of events?
Yeah. So I had a newborn the night before the first event, and so I couldn't play in it, obviously, which, great thing. And then I had a wedding. Yeah, I had a wedding the following weekend as well, so I missed out on those 2 events, and so we had to move on to event 3.
So I guess, for all the hardcore Magic players out there, in case you're wondering, having a baby and having a family member's wedding are very valid excuses for not playing in Magic tournaments. There are some players out there that it would be a really difficult choice for them. But, I think you played the long game well there. But from event 3, you were able to, find some spare weekends, and you came in with another brew, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I picked up, my favourite archetype, Red-Black Vampires. It was doing well.
See how we're going full circle here? Almost like this was planned. It's not. This is just great. So, Red-Black Vampires from your first PTQ up to the Australian New Zealand champs. So, how did you land on that deck? Was it just going back to Old Faithful because you saw it was a viable option, or did you find it somewhere online, or how did you arrive at that particular list?
So I knew I wanted to play vampires. That was my go-to, no matter what sort of form it came into. But I was watching a bit of Yellow Hat, and he was streaming it and was finding a bit of success. So I sort of took his list for a bit of a spin, and it was actually performing really well, even under my control instead of his, which is nice.
Bit of a difference between him and us mere mortals, so no shame in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just sort of took his list for a spin in event 3, and it just sort of worked out, and managed to, I think it was 4-1 in the end, and managed to make the top 8.
Fantastic. And I think it was around that time I decided to see if I could brew some vampires, and I sort of slapped some things together and put it out on the Magic Beans Discord, and that's when, you and I first interacted on the Discord, and I really liked the list, and I played it from gold to diamond, through just best of 1, mostly on my phone. A bit of success myself, and I learned a lot about sequencing, and it had been a really long time since I'd played a tribal deck. So I found it really, really fun and interesting. So, you had some success with that over the next couple of events, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I think in event 4, I took it back to the drawing board and tried to fix a few things up for the control matchups and everything. And it seemed to work because I was playing mostly control on the ladder. I think I was 21-10 against Izzet, and
wow.
ESL was mostly Izzet and Grixis and all those sorts of things. So I was sort of banking on playing against those, and it panned out well. So
for those out there still struggling against those decks, what were those changes specifically? Was it something as drastic as main deck duress, or was it some other technology that helped shore up that matchup? Yeah, so I basically just added a duress and added the off-tribe graveyard trespasser. So, trying to attack there when they want to bounce your creatures back to hand, force them to, use their extra resources by discarding a card and stuff like that. So I wanted, tough to deal with threats, and if they were bounced, you got some value
in some regard.
Okay, yeah, because that Fading Hope is a really innocuous card, but does a lot of work against the aggressive decks for the Izzet deck. So great choices. I think that's really good to do that, and particularly when you get to that top 8 stage when deck lists are open and they're going to be worried about that duress, and it may actually cause some mulligans if they have a hand that is all expensive spells or only 2 lands and an iteration. Just the threat of duress may cause them to send that back. So I like that. The one of fun of is really, really good. So and you made some top 8s with that along the way, and a top 4 amongst those, I believe, as well.
So event 3 was a top 4.
That is fantastic. I love seeing the tribal decks crush it, and for anybody who isn't in the Beans Discord, you had like a proper fan club going on both in the chat and in the events channel on the Beans Discord. So I hope you felt the love. We were definitely behind you. We were definitely all cheering you on from our lounge rooms.
I certainly feel the love. I've never been cheered on before, so it's actually pretty amazing. It's good. Love everyone out there.
You're part of the Magic Beans family now, mate. So
I'm feeling it.
Excellent. So thanks so much for your for sharing that with us today, and for all those who were thinking you were going to miss out on a Magic Beans episode. You've got a very, very special one with our special guest, TheAzzyG. So, before we go, mate, if there's any socials or stream that you would like to share, if you do that yourself, or anybody you'd like to shout out or say g'day to, the floor is yours before we wrap up.
I don't really do socials or streaming much at all, so I'll leave that. But, my lovely fiance who tries to convince me to play whenever she can because she's bored sitting at home doing nothing. So she likes to watch me play. And just friends like Wayne, Chris, Matt that I play Magic with a lot.
Excellent. So
that's about it.
Wayne, Chris and Matt, make sure you take as much credit for TheAzzyG's success as possible, because he couldn't have gotten where he is without you guys. And, mate, I was going to say, if you didn't already have a ring on your fiance's finger, if she's willing to sit there and watch you play Magic, she's definitely the one. So that's incredible. So shout out to your amazing fiance. I hope everything's going well with the bub. And I really hope to see you next year in the Magic Beans tournament series and in and around our Discord. It's been great chatting to you today. And enjoy the time with the family over the Christmas break, mate.
Thank you very much. Same to you. Hopefully you have a great Christmas and all the kids get what they want.
Yeah, hopefully there's some Magic cards under the tree for me as well, as I always put on my wish list to Santa.
Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll wrap it up. So thanks very much for tuning into the Magic Beans. If you would like to follow us on Twitch or Twitter or YouTube, just search up the Magic Beans. If you'd like to follow me, I am at Chewy MTG. And stay safe out there. Have a great Christmas, everybody, and we will talk to you all in the new year.